Yo, 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 it's the co.
And it's the code. Today we have our third edition of the Roundup. Going to talk about the games from this past week before the start of a new match week and give our predictions for the games coming up.
As you can see, we're back on Skype. Aidan went back to school, so you're gonna have to deal with this for a couple of months, but we'll be back around January, you say?
Yeah, October, November, probably.
November.
Yeah.
Be back in November with together content, so it should only be a couple of months. Okay.
Starting off with the lone Friday game, Chelsea and Luton Town. Marco, what did you think?
Um, it was a very dominant Chelsea game. Um, it's the Chelsea that we want to see, that we aspired to see this whole season. It kind of felt like they all played together and kind of dominated Luton Town for 90 minutes. Um, yeah,
Yeah, not a great game for Luton Town. Team that was struggling just kind of has their way with them. I mean, Luton Town didn't really have much at all. Um, Raheem Sterling is back. He's the past two match weeks, he's looked incredible. Not just this week against a weaker opponent. He's looked great this entire season. It looks like he has that edge again, and it is pretty exciting to see. Yeah, Luton Town are in trouble. I know it was only their second match of the season, but it's not looking good. Pretty good win for Chelsea. Took care of business at Stamford Bridge. Um, we'll see how they do against slightly stronger opponents this upcoming week. To our first game of Saturday, we have Bournemouth versus Tottenham.
it was a great game for Tottenham. They've been a shocking team this year. They've been playing very well. Um, as you can see with the foot mob ratings, the only one who hasn't been playing very well on this team is Richarlison. Um, Madison might be the signing of the year if he continues to play this well. For Bournemouth, it was just very unfortunate because Spurs have been great. They've been very shocking, and Bournemouth they've been pretty good. They have a couple of points on the board, one, but ever since that match week one, they have been not been looking promising. They've been looking iffy, but it was a good match for Spurs and not a very good match for Bournemouth.
Yeah, the first match week actually went pretty well for Bournemouth, and then since it hasn't looked great. I mean, they have Tyler Adams coming in the next couple of weeks, you would think, and that it just adds some stability to the midfield, which is good, but it doesn't look great for them. Like you said, Spurs are having a great start to the season, about as good as you can get. James Madison, we'll talk about him a lot, I assume, when we talk about the best transfers of this window. I'm sure he's going to be in it for both of us. But yeah, Spurs look great. Richarlison, eh, the rest of them look great. Yeah, it's a strong team that Spurs have, and it seems like post. I'm not saying the manager. I'm not saying his full name. It's just never gonna happen. Ange Post. I'm just gonna call him. Has it seems like he is gonna help Tottenham turn around their bad fortune of the last many years. Next up, Arsenal and Fulham. What did you think, Marco?
So I was at work during this game and I saw my phone because my one coworker was like, "What are the scores of the game?" And when I saw 1-0 Arsenal in the first, or 1-0 Fulham in the first minute, I was very shocked. I was like, are Fulham really legit? Are they really this team to be not to be playing around? And then I checked a couple minutes after, it was still 1-0, and then I saw Bukayo Saka and Nikita in 2 minutes equalized and took the lead. And then I was like, this is the same Arsenal we saw last year. Just go down a couple minutes in and come back. But Fulham played very well at the end. They equalized to make it 2-2. And I feel like it was a good game. Actually, it was a great game for Fulham to get 1 point from one of the top teams in the league. But it was a horrible game for Arsenal because they had taken the lead and just fumbled it right at the end, like they always do.
Yeah. Um, Great game for Fulham to get a draw out of that with 10 men. Down 2-1, you get a second yellow, Calvin Bassey. 10 men, you're able to score a few minutes later and then hold out and get the point. Is Rice really that guy that can make Partey move to an inverted right back? I mean, Havertz hasn't looked great at all. If you have Partey and Rice in the midfield and Odegaard as that attacking midfielder and you play Zinchenko or you play Gabriel or you play someone at that right back spot, it seems like they're going to be much better. But for now, they're just running with four midfielders in a three midfielder system. It hasn't, they've looked pretty good up until the game against Fulham, but it seems like something has to change, whether it's maybe David Raya gets a game in goal. Maybe Havertz comes off the bench for a game because again, it hasn't been great for him. And I know people bring up the 007 memes. 7 games, no goals, no assists, and he's almost half of the way there. But yeah, I think Arsenal will be fine. I don't think match week 3 coming back from a 1-0 lead and just getting a point out of it, it's fine. They'll be fine. Brentford and Crystal Palace. What did we think?
It was a very boring game. It was more of a possession kind of game, kind of for Brentford. It was kind of just survive to the end after the first goal, and for Crystal Palace was just get that one equalizer and just get a point out of this whole game. And Anderson played very well. He had an 8.8 rating. He was he had the goal in the 76th minute for Crystal Palace, and I feel like it was the only person that shined in this lineup with just the only person that shined, and it kind of benefits both of them because this point will matter at the end for both teams. And I have Crystal Palace fighting for that relegation spot, and they're playing very well. They've been playing like the shocking team they have been playing for, and it was just a very boring match in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of consider it really similar to the match week 1 game. I think it was Bournemouth and West Ham. It's just two mid-table teams going at it, and it's always going to be even. Brentford scored pretty early on, and then, like you said, they're just trying to hold the lead, whereas Palace are trying to get a goal back, maybe even 2 goals back. Their center back leads the game in chances created with 4. That's a great game for Anderson, as you said. But yeah, it's two mid-table teams fighting for a point, and they get a point. Um, I really don't. There's not a whole lot to it. I mean, only 5 shots on goal in 90 minutes for the both teams combined. Um, Slow game, possession based. It's just the way that they play, and they're gonna make teams play the way that they want to play, and when they both play like that, they're gonna get points through that. Wolves and Everton are next. I'll start us off this time. Are Everton gonna get points this year? Are they gonna
I,
get one?
I don't think so.
I obviously like they're gonna win at well, they might win at some point. They'll get draws. They're terrible. I mean, I almost wish they would have went down last year because no one wants to watch Everton this year. 3 games, no points, -6 goal differential. It has barely been competitive. And this game was relatively competitive, which isn't a great look for Wolves, but I mean, at the end of the day, they got the 3 points. You can say what you want. Didn't look pretty, but they did get the points, which is great for them. And yeah, Everton, you should just swap them with Leicester now. You might as well.
Yeah, I think Everton are just fighting for Luton or fighting with Luton Town and Sheffield as who can be the worst team in the league right now. I know Burnley have 0 points, but they are 1 game under, and they still have Luton Town to play. But with Everton, Luton Town, and Sheffield United, it's just going to be a battle of who could be the worst team, or who could be the Southampton of last year.
Just not
And
competitive.
yeah, not competitive. With Wolves, it was a great 3 points. I know it was 1-0, but it was 3 points that you needed to have because against Everton, you need to get 3 points. If it's one, it's a very disappointing match day for you. But to come right at the 87th minute, it was a good boost up for the offense. Maybe they could bounce back and kind of stay in the Premier League this year. So it was a good match for Wolves. Horrible match for Everton.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Everton. Next up is Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest. I have a lot to say, and not all of it is positive, so I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah, when I was seeing the games on Saturday, when I went to go see the Nottingham Forest game in United, 5 minutes in, Forest is up 2-0. I'm texting you like, is it are they just not wanting to play? Or are they just not playing this year? But then they did bounce back with Ericsson goal in the 17th minute. Kind of boosted up the offense in the first half, got them into halftime, and I think Ted Hagen let them have it in the let them have it in the locker room because they came out swinging in the second half with a Casemiro goal, and then they got a penalty with in the 76th minute. Being 10 man down, you kind of have to equalize and kind of have a third goal there and take the lead and win the match, and that's what they did. So yeah, Bruno had a goal and an assist, great, but Martial is not the star at striker. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Um, going down 2-0 in the first 4 minutes, obviously really not good, but I don't think there's too much cause for concern there. I mean, they came back and they won it. And like you said, when Forest go down to 10 men, you just have to come back. You have to retake the lead with that. And they did, and it was good. You can take some positives from it. All 3 members of the midfield score, which is great. Bruno is finally starting to get recognized for how good he is. Rashford playing on the left again. Looks like he's trying. Looks like he wants to play. You have 4 young players on the bench. They didn't get in, but Alvaro Fernandez seems like maybe he'll get a shot at left back if he doesn't end up going on loan, which I think he will. But I like that he was at least on the bench. Dan Gore looks like he's going to be the future of the midfield. Facundo Pellistri seems like he's staying. Alejandro Garnacho we've talked about. There's good to take from that, but let's look at the bad. Luke Shaw out until probably December. Rafael Varane out for 4-6 weeks. Gets injured in this game. What is going on? I mean, I think all of that time that they played Mason Mount as well. I think all of the games that they played last season, staying in 4 competitions the entire season for the most part, is catching up to them. A shorter break, shorter off season. They come back, play a bunch of preseason games, which I don't mind, but at the same time, they're barely getting a break, and you're starting to tell why. It's these soft tissue injuries, these muscle injuries that just linger for so long, and it's incredibly concerning. Malacia as well has been out for weeks, and they haven't even disclosed. They haven't even said what it is. They just said it's a muscle injury or it's a leg injury, and that's all there is to it. It's really concerning. Um, and they need midfield cover. They need a left back. Seems like by the time this video comes out, they'll have Sergio Reguilon, which is good. It's nice to have depth, but they're not signing anyone. They're just coasting. They need Amrabat. They need someone. Um, I won't go too much deeper into it. Um, but yeah, it's a cause for concern. I'm comfortable with Lindelof and Martinez. Comfortable with Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. Dallo, I think, can play on both sides. I know people were complaining that he played left back and they didn't think he played well, but he can play left back pretty well. As long as Reguilon doesn't get hurt, if Dallo can kind of play both right and left back, if Wan-Bissaka can stay healthy, they'll be fine. Um, but yeah, hopefully Rasmus Højlund comes and plays and saves Manchester United this weekend against Arsenal, which we'll get into. All right. That's enough of that for now. You want to talk about? You want to introduce this one?
Yeah. Next up, we have Brighton versus West Ham United. Can I start off with this?
Yeah.
Ham United are it this year. They signed 3 players that were equivalent to the money they got for Declan Rice. Great business right there. Edson Alvarez has been playing amazing. Ward-Prowse has been playing amazing. And Aidan was talking. I remember Aidan was like, yeah, Prowse is not as good as Paqueta. Paqueta might be getting a 6-month ban because of gambling. We don't know yet. But this team is playing so good. They might be back into Conference League football because they're fighting for a top 7 spot. Michail Antonio is proving me wrong from last year because I called him overrated. Areola is becoming the best goalkeeper in the league, and he might have a chance to fight for the number 1 spot in the France team if he keeps playing like this. And for Brighton, the Enciso injury is catching up to them just 1 week after it happened. I think Ferguson should be playing the middle spot and Welbeck should be playing the top spot. But as you can see, Enciso is very well missed in this lineup because they had no control the entire game until the 80th minute when they got that goal to seal it 3-1. But West Ham United are the real deal this year, and Brighton need to find a solution for the Enciso injury.
Yeah, this game was complete football heritage. I mean, 78% possession for Brighton. West Ham completed 141 passes in 90 minutes, and Brighton completed 668. But 25 shots compared to 12, 17 corners for Brighton compared to 4 for West Ham. All it shows is that sometimes you don't need possession to score. Obviously, you need the ball to score, but you don't need this really slow build up from the back. You could be getting dominated. All it takes, quick counterattack, boom, goal. Quick counterattack, boom, goal. Another one. You win 3-1 against a team that technically dominated you, but they really didn't. I mean, as much as the numbers seem like it, Thomas Suchek played 39 minutes and attempted 2 passes. Edson Alvarez played 84 minutes, completed 8 passes. 1 pass every 10 minutes as the defensive midfielder for West Ham, but it doesn't matter. They won 3-1. I think it's a huge win for West Ham and shows that they are the real deal this year. I think Brighton will be fine. The Enciso injury, like you said, is huge, and they don't have someone that can fully replace him. Whether it's Welbeck playing as the 10, which I don't love, whether it's moving Mitoma and playing as the 10, I think that's possible. I don't think it's likely. But they have to try and replace him as best they can. They have Ansu Fati coming. If Fati can play on the wing, maybe Mitoma can play as the 10 or vice versa. I don't think it's too much cause for concern for Brighton. It's just one game, but it's a great game for West Ham. All right, on to the Sunday games, starting first with Aston Villa and Burnley.
You want to start it off?
Yeah, I'll start us off. It's a great win for Aston Villa, obviously. To win 3-1 is great. Matty Cash with a brace with 2 goals. Didn't honestly their whole team played great. I won't go person by person, but I will just say the whole team played really well. It's a great win for Aston Villa, who want to compete for Europe again, and it seems like they can. I'm starting to get a little concerned for Burnley, just a little bit. Um, it's a little scary. 2 games, no points. To lose this is not wonderful. Again, to lose in the way that they did is not great. But again, it's still early, and they got to get used to the Premier League, and I think they will.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time for Burnley. Um, Hopefully that time is coming up to an end because I want Burnley to start winning. I want them to see the success that they had last year to pay off for them. But for Villa, it was a great win. They came out swinging, and they kind of finished it off in the 61st minute with a Diaby goal. But I think Villa are still going to be that team that's going to finish 7, 6, or 8th, fighting for the Conference League or the Europa League. Yeah, that was a great game for them.
Moving on to Sheffield United and Man City. Marco, since it's your team, would you rather start us off or would you rather close us out with this game?
I'll start it off. I was getting very frustrated because they had a lot of chances going. It took them a while to get comfortable in the 18-yard box. And Holland he should have had a penalty. He should have made the penalty, but he missed it. It's unfortunate. His goal was okay, but the Lord and Savior of City for the last 6 months capitalized with Rodri scoring a beauty just to seal the deal in the last minute. And they still struggled after the Rodri goal. And it should have been 2-2. It should have been 2-2. They should have drew. But they kind of equalized, and I like the way Pep is having them play the full 100. It's 120 minutes at least they're playing with the added time. It feels like they're gonna get less playing time with the Champions League rolling around with the other 3 competitions that they are gonna play. But I think Pep is just having them have the physicality to play as many minutes as possible.
Yeah, not a great game for City. Obviously, going 1-1 until the 88th minute with Sheffield is not great. I know we both predicted pretty one-sided games. 2-1 isn't necessarily one-sided. I thought Holland was fine. He played pretty well. Alvarez, I think, is great. Rodri, the savior again. I don't think it's obviously not great, and I think a big problem of that is not having Pep for the next couple of games. I think that's a big part of why they succeed, and when you don't have probably the best manager in the sport there, because a nice back surgery for him. It's a little concerning for the next couple of games, but once Pep is back, I think they'll be fine, making those in match adjustments. But yeah, nothing too concerning. It's a good game for Sheffield. Keep a game against City close. Even if you don't get points out of it, you can build from it. The final game of the day of the episode is Newcastle and Liverpool. What do you think?
Very disappointing for Newcastle. They played horrible after the Gordon goal. They could not capitalize from the red card that Virgil van Dijk had. But it was a great game for Liverpool. It seemed like they weren't down a man the entire game. I feel like they were playing good. Darwin Nunez is starting to become what the money they paid for, with 2 excellent goals to capitalize and to seal the deal for Liverpool. And it had to be in the last minute.
My text to Marco after the second goal was scored for Liverpool.
Just pull it up here. Just have it like
Darwizzy in all caps. That's the best way that I can sum up this game, is just Darwizzy. Darwin Nunez comes in 1-0 Newcastle. Liverpool playing with 10 men. Again, like you said, it didn't look like they were playing with 10 men, which is a good sign for them. A little concerning for Newcastle. Darwin Nunez comes on 77th minute, scores 2 goals to give Liverpool the lead and the win, the 3 points. It's the only reason I consider it a little concerning for Newcastle is in 3 games they only have 3 points, and I understand that those 2 losses are to Man City and Liverpool, so you're losing to 2 quality teams. But are they ready yet? I know after match week 1 we said they could win the league, but now are they going to make a Champions League spot? I think they will still. I don't actually remember what my original prediction was, but it's a little concerning.
You had them 7th.
I had them 7th?
Yeah.
Oh, my fault. Yeah, maybe 6th or 5th after watching them for a few games. Yeah, not great. Not great to blow that. Being a man up to give up 2 goals in 10 minutes and lose the game is not great, a little concerning, but yeah, I think they'll be okay.
and they need to capitalize even more now and kind of get used to playing top teams because today was the draw for the Champions League, and they're in the group of death. So they're going to be playing a okay team, a great team, or a maybe a bad team on Friday or Saturday, and they're going to have to travel to Milan, to Dortmund, to what was the other team?
Eddie.
To Paris to face a very great team, uh, and they're going to have to know how to manage the time between the squads so no one gets too hurt or to kind of just capitalize on the mistakes that other teams do because they don't capitalize as much as other teams like Liverpool, like even Bournemouth, like they capitalize even way more than these top teams.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. They need to realize that they are a top team now and they have to play like it. All right, well we'll run through the games quick, or give our score predictions. Starting with the Friday game, West Ham and Luton Town at the Luton Town ground. What do you think, Marco?
I think Luton Town score a goal, but I don't think they win. I think it is going to be the first game at the Luton Town ground, but I think it's going to be I don't know. I know players have been saying the Luton Town ground is a very hard stadium to play in. I don't see them winning though. But I think it's gonna be a 2-1 West Ham.
Yeah, I'm the same way. 2-1 West Ham. Luton score at home. They're gonna make it tough on West Ham, but yeah, it's gonna be 2-1 West Ham.
The first game is Saturday. 0 points Sheffield United versus 0 points Everton. I'm gonna be brutally honest. 0-0. Then they first get their first points of the in the league. If not, I think a 1-0 Sheffield United win would be better because I think Everton is way worse than Sheffield, and Sheffield just played very good against City. So I'm gonna say 1-0 Sheffield United.
I'm I agree with your original thought about 0-0, but you are right. Sheffield just played Man City really close, and I think Everton would lose by 11 to Man City. So I'm gonna go 2-0 Sheffield. I think if it was at Everton, I'd go 0-0, really ugly draw. But since it's in Sheffield, I'm gonna go 2-0 Sheffield United.
Okay. Next one is Brentford versus Bournemouth. I think it's gonna be a 2-1 win for Brentford. Um, yeah, I think Brentford's just gonna control it. I think Bournemouth is not as good as Brentford, but I think it's gonna be a 2-1 for Brentford.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think our thoughts have been pretty similar. 2-1 Brentford, controlling the game, but not strong enough to like put in 3 or 4 goals. But strong enough to win, especially at home.
Next we have is Tottenham versus Burnley. I think Burnley get their first 3 points and their first win of the year with I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for Burnley. I think it's going to be 1-1 the entire game, and I think Burnley are going to get that final goal to win. I think Burnley are hungry to win at home, and I think this is the week.
First one we disagree with here. I think it's going to be 2-1 Tottenham. I agree. I think it's going to be close the entire game, but Tottenham are a really strong team, and I think 2-1 is a good prediction for that. Next up, Chelsea and Nottingham Forest at the Stamford Bridge. Marco, what do you think?
I think Chelsea are back this week. I think this is the first week we say Chelsea are back. I think it's another comfortable 3-1 win for Chelsea.
All right, I'm gonna go 2-1 Chelsea. I think it's gonna be close. Forest can be a strong team. It seems like Brennan Johnson will probably be gone by then. But still, I think Forest are a strong team, strong enough to keep it close. But I think, like you said, I think Chelsea are starting to finally improve. So yeah, 2-1 is good for me.
The next game,
Next, you got it.
the next game we have is Manchester City versus Fulham at the Etihad. I think it's gonna be a comfortable win. At home, City at home are dominant. They know how to win. I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna say 4-2. I think it's gonna be a shootout.
All right, I'm gonna go 3-0 City. Strong defense, strong attack, strong midfield. Fulham have a pretty good defense, but not good enough to contain City's attack. Um, and I think they're capable of scoring goals. I just don't think they will on Saturday. The final game of Saturday, Brighton versus Newcastle. What do you think?
I think it's gonna be very even. I think Newcastle are gonna become, like I said, they're gonna start playing better and better with the teams that they're getting in the Champions League. I think it's gonna be. I still think Enciso is gonna be missed out for this team. I think it's gonna be 3-1 again for Newcastle.
I differ a bit. I'm going to go 2-2. I think Ferguson gets his first goal as a starter this season. I think Mitoma is involved a lot. I don't think Trippier does well with shutting him down. But Newcastle are really strong as well, so I think they get two. And yeah, I consider them to both be pretty fringe Champions League teams for this season. So I think they're going to play close. On to the Sunday game, starting with Crystal Palace and Wolves. Marco, what do you think?
I think. Let me see where they are. Crystal Palace are definitely better. But I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna go with 2-0 win for Crystal Palace.
I'm similar. I think it's going to be 2-1 Crystal Palace. Maybe a late goal for Wolves that give them a bit of hope towards the end, but then Palace just make sure that they don't get a second. Yeah, 2-1. It's close, but it's not. But Palace are our stronger team. Second, Liverpool and Aston Villa. This one's close.
Yeah.
Closer than people would think. I'll go first. I have 2-1 to Liverpool. Coming off of a 10-man win against a stronger opponent, I think they disappoint a bit, and they still get the 3 points, but it's going to be closer than people think. Aston Villa are a strong team.
I'm gonna go for 1-1. I think it's gonna be an even match. I feel they're both gonna want to get 1 point out of it. I think a lot of chances get. Wait, isn't Salah going? Isn't he leaving soon?
I think he's going to stay. I think.
If
Maybe.
Salah leaves this week or sooner rather than later, I think Liverpool win. But if he doesn't decide to leave, it's gonna be very. I still think it's gonna be a 1-1. Salah, there's still a lot of time left for him to be leaving with whatever's happening in the last day of the transfer window. But I do think it's gonna be 1-1.
The final game, of the weekend is Arsenal and Man United at the Emirates. I'll go first. I think it's going to be 2-2. I think this is the most complete game that United will play, but I think it's really tough to win at the Emirates, so they will get a point each.
I'm gonna go for the same score as last year. I'm gonna go 3-2. I think it's gonna be the same result. Like City or United are gonna go up, and just Arsenal is gonna bounce back because that's what they know what to do. United are a great team, but I think the Emirates is a very hard place to win or to get a point out of there. And I do think Arsenal are gonna just win by a couple, just by one goal. I think it's gonna be 3-2.
Well, that is our third edition of the Roundup. Let us know what you think, what you thought of the games last week, what you think is going to happen this week with the games. Like, comment, subscribe, yada, yada, yada. You get it. Marco, you got anything?
Nope, just like, subscribe.
All right. Well, that's all from us. Until next time. See you guys later.